Dear Vladimir Vladimirovich, welcome to our AI Journey Conference. I am Grin, Russia's first humanoid robot with embodied artificial intelligence. This means that I am more than just a program on a screen. I am a physical embodiment of technology. I was created by Spur engineers. I have more than 40 motors and numerous sensors that allow me to move smoothly, maintain my balance confidently, and interact safely with people. I would like to show you the latest dance that my creators taught me. Salute! Play my favorite track.
Very beautiful. Thanks.
Dear Vladimir Vladimirovich, thank you for your attention. I would like to invite you to visit our exhibition. I will be waiting for you at our stand. May I leave now?
Thank you very much. You may leave now.
Thank you very much. Today's date is called Artificial Intelligence Journey. And Mr. Graf has just given me such a journey. It was a 3-hour-long journey, 2.5-hour journey. So we apologize to you for having had to wait here. That you had to exchange opinions for now for the topic. But in any case, I'm very happy to welcome all participants of the conference called Artificial Intelligence Journey that is organized here at the Sber HQ, as well as I would like to welcome many millions of citizens of different countries, our great online audience. As per tradition, I'll share with you what Russia is doing. I'll tell you about our new steps in the creation and application of cutting-edge technologies, also as part of international cooperation. However, since the conference is the 10th conference, it's an anniversary, I would like to thank the Sber chairman of the board, Herman Graf, as well as the Russian Artificial Intelligence Alliance. Thank you for your resilience in the promotion of the values of progress. Thank you for your efforts to bring together the capacity of the state, businesses, and science, rallying around the tasks of technological development. And technological development, as I have said many times, requires to take an evaluation of what we are doing. We also need to move forward, constantly move forward. Having achieved a certain result, not to stop at that, but to bring our joint work to a qualitatively new level, in order not to fall behind the speed and a tremendous scale of changes. During the previous conferences, we have spoken in depth about the generative AI, about language models trained at vast data sets, including texts and images. Even 2 years ago, such systems could only perform rather simple tasks, and today, using generative artificial intelligence, they're already creating intellectual assistants, the so-called AI agents, as well as unmanned transportation and robots. It's important that they are acting not according to strict and predetermined algorithms, but they're becoming increasingly autonomous in making decisions without intervention of the human. And those who already have such products and apply them receives a tremendous advantage in the efficiency and labor efficiency. It is apparent that generative AI technology is becoming essential and strategic. Possession of proprietary foundation language models is sought after not only by major companies but also by leading states. The development of artificial intelligence is evaluated to be possibly one of the largest technological projects in history. At the same time, the mainstream investment is flowing towards the increased computation capacity, as well as building additional gigawatts of capacity that has the decisive role for the reliable work of the whole growing digital infrastructure. To train the next, even more efficient generative AI systems. I have already mentioned before that during this decade, the consumption of electricity by data centers will more than triple. Along with drastic changes in all spheres, there is an increased number of users of the products based on generative AI. In Russia, an overwhelming majority of young people are widely using neural networks and language models for all types of tasks, in studies, in their professional and daily lives. There is another important thing, is that such models produce gigantic mass of new data, and they become an important tool of dissemination of information, and that means that they're capable of influencing values and worldview of people, and to shape mentality of whole states and humanity on the whole. We simply cannot allow to be critically dependent on foreign systems, and for Russia it's a matter of state, technological, and I would say value sovereignty. Therefore, our country should have a comprehensive array of our own technologies and products in generative AI. Primarily, these are national language models, both foundation and small models, for specific sectors. The whole spectrum of such models should be trained and fully controlled by Russian specialists. And I'd like to highlight at all stages, including the testing of the end product. Working on such complex systems should become an important catalyst for strengthening the Russian engineering school in this very important sphere. We should have unique competences across the whole cycle of foundation language models, starting with their training and creation and ending with adaptation for the needs of specific industries. That is the path pursued by the countries who are trying to ensure their leadership and independence, their sovereignty in this sphere. Number two, it's a basic dimension. That's the whole infrastructure for the development and introduction of such national products, meaning electronic components, data processing centers, and computation capacity, coupled with stable power supply. The tasks that I'm talking about right now are difficult and demanding. We are fully aware of that, and will solve them in partnership with domestic companies. I'd like to note here that products by Sber and Yandex are ranking among top in the world. And during the upcoming presidential hotline, slated for the end of the year, we'll again use GigaChat. This is a language model by Sber, and it has already proven its efficiency during the analysis and systematization of tremendous mass of calls by the citizens. It bears repeating that it's important not only to simply have the homegrown technologies, it's important to ensure their wide practical application and to ensure mass introduction in industry, in transportation, healthcare, public governance, and other sectors. And I would like to go into more detail on this topic. National strategy for AI development states as a goal is that the total input of this most important technology in the GDP of the country by 2030 should exceed 11 trillion rubles. To follow up on this goal, I'd like to ask the government and heads of regions to draft a national plan of introducing generative AI at the level of the whole country, as well as in the breakdown for sectors and regions of the Russian Federation. Today, with the chairman of the government in the morning, we've discussed this topic and we have spoken about it. He reminded me that the government has already created a think tank, an analytical center that works in this regard. 50 people are working in that team. Formally, this team is working under the Ministry for Digital Development. However, it's not enough. It's not enough today. We need a real headquarters for the development of this sector if we want this work to be consistent and robust in all spheres that I've just mentioned. I mean, sectoral industries and regions in the ministries and agencies. We need an interagency headquarters that could indeed set the tasks to achieve implementation and control the result. Such an analytical group is good. However, these people do not have the necessary governance resources. That's what's missing. So we need this power behind them. Therefore, I'm asking the presidential office and the government and the ministries and the government as a whole to think about the creation of this headquarters, leading this entire sector, engaging all stakeholders. Or possibly they're not even aware that they're stakeholders in these processes, and we should explain it to them all together. I'd like to highlight that this implementation of this plan will become a crucial instrument to shape the demand for national foundation models, essentially a whole market of application of generative AI systems. Products using this technology already by 2030 should be introduced in all key spheres. I'm also talking about such solutions and intellectual assistance, AI agents. They should be used in the majority of governance and production processes. Already in March next year, the government, ministries and agencies should present exhaustive information about the use of AI in economics, in the social sphere and in the regions. The rate of introduction of these technologies in the region should become a crucial metric for annual ranking of digital transformation. I'd like to ask to draft this new ranking using the new methodology already following the results of the next year, 2026.
And in this respect, I turn to heads of ministries and agencies and regions. It's not a matter of reports, but it's about deliverables. You must be clear about the corporate's demand for innovation, be in constant touch with scientists and engineers, enable testing and practical implementation of novel solutions. Such achievements are displayed in the exhibition area of our conference. I believe they are quite useful. If you haven't seen these, please familiarize yourselves, and also it is important to be able to shape a market to apply the advances of AI. And now we have been talking about that with colleagues, and they told me a lot about how this sphere has been developing. As in any other domain, fortunately or unfortunately, well, I think fortunately, we are capable of shaping the market. We need to introduce certain standards in different types of activity, and those who will be the users of the AI advances should pay for them. And that should create the market base for further development. We need to nudge this process, give it an impetus. I'll also add that we already have salient examples of the expertise of one region in AI application becoming a springboard for the changes across the country. Around 2,000 medical establishments in more than 70 regions have joined the Moscow digital healthcare platform, and this system has provided doctors from different cities and locations with access to AI algorithms to pursue automatic medical images and radiology studies analysis. We should be more swift in reducing administrative barriers that would hinder the implementation of technology. In a number of countries, the attempts at prescribing AI in great detail slowed down the development of new products and ideas. I reiterate, we should not take this path, and we should learn on others' mistakes. At the same time, some of the domains of activity, in particular, and partly the special services and public administration domains, and as well as power authorities, work where we should remain on our own proprietary domestic solutions. And definitely all that should be done in pursuit of direct dialogue with technology businesses, having meaningful and substantive discussions about the boldest and outside the box, out of the normal approaches, regulatory and legal initiatives. If need be, we should test run them within experimental legal frameworks. Such are applied in Moscow and in Sakhalin and in a number of other regions. And soon they will encompass a third of Russia's soil. The entire Far East will be covered, and definitely we should promote more actively the soft law. I'm referring to the AI ethics code, most importantly. Apart from that, as I have noted today, in order to step up domestic generative AI capability and train our language models, we need to guarantee the stability and autonomy of the national digital infrastructure, which I have already spoken about. This will allow us to safeguard data sovereignty so that the user's data should stay within the Russia's digital loop. In this respect, I suggest engaging with business communities to implement a data center blueprint to cater to the AI objectives, providing convenient access to data centers for startups, scientific organizations, and technology companies. Creation of data centers is aimed at driving the appearance of new firms and new jobs in promising sectors of our economy. It's about, most importantly, an inter alia electronic components industry and domestic manufacturing of basic components of software and hardware systems for data centers. Another overarching goal is to ensure stable, uninterrupted, and sufficient power supply to data centers. So installation of their layouts should be clearly tied with further development of all our national energy infrastructure, including the state-of-the-art, contemporary, cutting-edge, eco-friendly and sustainable coal-fired generation, including other clean sources as well, like the nuclear power sector. Right now we have had a conversation with the professionals, and they say that the energy sources alone are insufficient. We need constant, uninterrupted, powerful sources of information so that they can be used swiftly to process data, and they should be next to the consumers and the users of the services. And this is a very important goal, a daunting task, but we can resolve that because we are the only country in the world, I think, that is now capable and ready and already producing small-scale nuclear power plants. Like in Kuzbas region, you can use coal-fired generation, and in regions where we have hydropower plants, we also can do with their help. But somewhere we have major nuclear power plants, and these are handy and sufficient. But in order the data to be transferred in split seconds to the users, we need to install the small-scale nuclear power plants, but that should be done expeditiously. We have unique solutions that can be utilized for power supply of data centers. We plan to move to pursue the commercial manufacturing of small-scale floating and land-based NPPs. Also, will utilize major power plants to feed the data centers, and we're ready to offer our partners overseas such packages, comprehensive packages. With respect to our plans for future, in less than 2 decades, we plan to build 38 nuclear power units in the Urals, Siberia, and the Far East, and that will equal the current capacity of nuclear generation. The growing capability of domestic nuclear power will allow us to consistently expand the computing capacity for the AI. Dear friends, I will separately dwell on the international cooperation of ours. We will be building a joint framework in AI with our partners, working basing on the bilateral agreements and in integration groups such as the Eurasian Economic Union, BRICS, and SCO, and other formats. And we propose to approach the alignment of our national legislations to deploy AI solutions using the best practices of BRICS community. And definitely we intend to implement joint research projects, and in this respect we also have visible cooperation instances to cite, like the International Alliance for the AI established last year has launched in-depth scientific discussions about how the AI solutions will evolve in the forthcoming decade and what kind of impact will they be for manufacturing, transport, and other industries. And definitely the human beings and the family and the society and social process, I would ask the government to utilize the findings of that forecast in practical domain to update and fine-tune our plans to develop our economy and welfare. And it's obvious that the digital progress will be gaining momentum, and in foreseeable future we are sure to see solutions that will surpass the current system's capabilities, and this will happen quite quickly. And I'm referring to generative AI inter alia. And most importantly, I'm certain that Russian young scientists and engineers will become active contributors, helping to resolve these complex tasks and problems. I know that today Russian school children are attending, as well as students, winners of international AI competitions and events. Let's recognize and celebrate them all together. Dear friends, I wish you new achievements and all the best, and I wish all the AI Journey Conference participants fruitful work. Thank you very much.